have a very interesting presentation next. I think it was about 2 months ago, or well, maybe even longer. Kevin Maclean from Sun 24 in USA, Florida, called and talked to us, and through a whole series of just conversations and stuff, we ended up meeting all the people that you see here in front of you, and they have done some really incredible work in Africa, in Niger, and we're really excited to hear from you. So Rebecca, I'm going to turn it over to you and take it away. Thank you.
Thanks. Can you see my screen? Okay, great. So just a quick introduction to our panel. First off, I'd really like to thank Rich Earth so much for doing what you're doing, putting on this wonderful summit, and for inviting us to have this panel. So just a quick intro to the panel. The real star of our show is Aminu Ali. He's an agronomist who leads a large farmer organization in Niger, which I presume he will introduce to us. And then so he'll be giving a longish 15-minute or so presentation that I think was going to include a video. And then that will be followed by sort of briefer commentaries around 3 minutes each from several of the other people shown here. So Batamaka is the regional representative for the McKnight Foundation Collaborative Crop Research Program. Kevin Maclean, as you just mentioned, Kim, is the head of a different NGO, Sun 24. And Mary and I are also related to this McKnight program, which funds the work that Aminu Ali will be presenting today. So 4 out of the 5 of us are related to a grant-making program that does international agriculture research. I'll actually mention that at the end in a little bit more detail. The McKnight Foundation and its collaborative crop research program that supports some of this work. We'll each say a bit about it. I just want to say that we do not have any right to represent urine use in Africa in any grand scheme of things. No, this is a very narrow comment on, it's really Aminu's case that he'll present, and then the rest of us sort of reflecting on it from our personal points of view, usually in a prospective sense. Commenting on what we hope to have and what we hope to do, because this is such a great networking opportunity. So please take this in a very modest sense that we're very proud of what Aminu's been doing, and the rest of us are sort of more aspirational in our remarks. Okay, so over to Aminu, if you could share your screen. Thank you. Aminu, are you there? I see him. Okay, unmute.
Yes.
No connection.
Yeah, I think the Niger connection may be tough. Aminu, can you share your screen, and maybe you're unmuted now. Good, over to you.
Yes, Rebecca, I'm here. Yeah, did you see the screen?
Great, thank you.
Yeah.
Okay, did you see the screen?
Yes, Aminu.
Thanks, and I should have mentioned that Aminu's co-author, Hanatu, is with us on the meeting as well. Sorry, Hanatu.
Okay, quickly, my name is Ali Maman Aminu. I'm the director of one federation in Niger that's called Fuma Gaskia. So Fuma Gaskia is a farmer organization with the vision to better organize the farmer and help them in the production, marketing, and to strengthen their capacity to self-sufficient. This is the main vision of the FEMA. So how we should do it, our mission is to dignify effective representation of all the farmers, to defend their materials and the moral interests under all the circumstances, and then strengthen the capacity to in the production, organization, and the commercial entrepreneurship. So the main objective is of Fuma Gaskia is to contribute to the economic, social, cultural, and the technological development and of the producer working in the rural community. So how FEMA is doing it, we are organized at 3 different levels. The first level is regional level that we have FUMA Gaskia. The second level is district level that we have a union. FUMA actually has 26 union, and at the village level we have 450 farmers organization groups. That counts a total number of 18,600 members. Out of them, 55% are women and 45% of them are men. So to carry out the activities of FUMA Gaskia, so the administration were divided at 3 steps. The first step is General Assembly, under which all the activities had been planned, even the budget will be discussed by the farmers to decide which activity to be conducted during the year. So we have the Administrative Council that is mandated to carry out all the activities that had been accepted by all the farmers during the General Assembly. And then we have the Executive Council, which have the director, the manager, data manager, program manager, technician, animators, and 120 farmer relay. These all the people are mandated to carry out the activities that was adopted in General Assembly. So this presentation I want to share with you the story of Fuma Gaskia related to human being urine. It is a long story, but quickly I can just give you some information related to this story. Because the Executive Council of the Fuma Gaskia has started discussing the way that they can bring this technology to the farmers and to convince them, accept them using this technology at the village level. So during our discussion, we can do great. We get the funding of Maclean Foundation that help the farmer, this farmer organization, for Fuma Gaskia, to carry out research activities related to human being urine. So before started the activity, we have seen that urine, when you look at urine, is a dirt. So it's not easy to go in the village and talk to the people to manipulate urine like this. So before going there we started and discussed on the cultural, social, and economic barriers. What are the barriers that will limit farmers to accept this technology? When we go to the cultural aspects, we discuss with many groups, individual farmers and group farmers. Well, the information that we gather related to social and the cultural aspect, they show us and they convince us there are no barrier related to the manipulation of urine. Because what the advanced ideas are to support this idea, they say that in Africa, if you take most of the farm, we have in all the villages, you can find farms that are very close to the village. And some villages don't have even toilets. People are going in the farm, they defecate there, they urinate there. But the people are still consuming the product that they harvest from those fields. So they say that this is a great idea. We can start maybe using it. Then when we go on social aspects, we discuss with various ethnic groups that are in Niger, what they think about manipulation of urine. What we come out with one constraint is calling urine in public, say the urine is not good. There's one society that said that they cannot call urine in public. So when we come back, we sit down and discuss with other farmers how to overcome this problem of nomination of urine. So when you say urine is harm, so what we found? So some farmers, they propose one idea, one word. This word is not a jargon. It's not maybe in any of the Niger language. They call him Oga. What they mean of Oga? They say that Oga is a urine that you collect, store, transport it, and apply it to the crop. That it can become fertilizer. And this fertilizer, we call it Oga instead of urine. Urine is what you left in the toilet as a So it's a common understanding, and so all the people, all the farmers that were working with them, okay, that's great, okay, we accept this word. So Oga, it means the fertilizer that you apply in the field. That urine is Oga. So from now, I think what you get in my presentation, I will talk about Oga instead of urine. So when we get the word of Oga, so we move forward. So we said, in Niger we have also most of the people, the Islamic people. So what maybe the religion think about the manipulation, even application of urine on the crop and the consuming it. We go throughout the religious people. They go in the Quran and all the books. They search. They say that it's not forbidden. It's allowed. It's halal. You can consume the product fertilized with Oga. So as we get this information, we move forward. It's not enough. You go to the medical doctors to ask them what they think. Maybe if I collect Oga, I apply it on the crop. If I harvest the product, if I consume it, maybe it will not harm to my health or to the health of the person. So those medical doctors gave us certainty that there is no problem of health related to applying urine on a crop and consuming the harvest of these products. So when we gather all those information related to culture, social, religious, and health, we produce a sensitized video. And this video is on YouTube, and I shared with you links of that video that you can go and share it. But unfortunately, the video is in French. Actually, is in French. So after gathering all this information, we move forward so that we should start collecting the urine. So our project is based on option by context. Because we have this option of collecting urine, but on which context we can collect it? Because the farmers are different. Some have toilets, some don't have toilet. Some have materials, other materials, so that we should try to have a common understanding. You can collect urine based on the material that you have, maybe based on your context, yes, you can collect the urine. So farmers started collecting urine. So you see this idea, for example, this is a toilet, one of the example of the toilet that you see here. So people, they can go urinate in this small recipient and come pour it in this can. We have another prototype of a collection. We have also this side, another prototype of a toilet that you have a can here. And when you urinate here, it will go directly in the can. So you can collect it and store it like this. People used to use this level of Oga just to show to the people that is in the house, whenever you see this kind of a can, they label it Oga, so people will not open thinking maybe it is water or something liquid that is inside. It is Oga. So after the collection of Oga, they transport it to the field. We have many ways of transporting it on the field. They can use these materials to transport it in the field. Some that have it, some transport it on their head to the field and apply it. They apply it like before applying, they touch a small thing around the nose because of the smelling of Oga. They use a small container. They apply it like this. So if you see this picture, it gave us the results. This side we apply Oga, this side we didn't apply Oga. When you look at the crop, the development are not, there's a difference in development. The one that we apply Oga is very vigorous and we harvest many things on it. So after defining all those aspects, storage, collection, storage, transport, and application, and so information related to the cultural aspect, we started our trials. How our trials are started? We started with a complex trial that is compulsory by all the farmers. We selected 9 villages in Niger, 3 villages out of 9, 3 villages in northern part, 3 villages in southern part, and 3 villages in western part of Niger. So we take also 2 contexts, soil type and social classes of the women. So we established our trial on this with these people. So in 2015, when we do participatory evaluation, we come out with convincing information. So now that we say that we can start giving farmers the right of the choice. He can choose which treatment he want to apply on the field. So we give them the chance. We keep the 9 villages and give them the chance to apply down to the treatment on soil type and social classes.
Sorry, I mean, are you advancing your? Okay, got it. Sorry, thanks.
Yeah. So in 2016, we simplify the treatment, the approach. So we take OGA vice control in 9 villages also, just to gather information and have experience of conducting trials with the farmers. This trial is managed by farmers, established and managed by farmers. So when we get the experience in 2016, we move to what we call a large number of trials in 2017. We started a large N trial with 80 villages. Now we move to 120 villages. Then we did each year the typology of our farmers to better analyze the data related to the typology. When we got this result, we can maybe, based on typology information that we collect, we can contextualize our analysis. So this table shows quickly from 2015 to 2020, the number of villages that are involved in our trials and the number of farmers also involved in our trials. When you see them from 2014, we started with 9 villages. Now in 2020, we have 120 villages. The first year we started with 664 farmers. Today, we are working with up to 5,000 farmers. And each year, from 2017 to 2020, we updated our farmer typology. To all the time, we are getting information related to our farmers. So from 2014 that we started our experience, we get some lessons from some agronomic lessons that we obtained. The first lesson is the reported yield level are within the expected order of magnitude on farm trials. Because where we conducted our trials on the farmers field, we get the result that are convincing farmers because what they obtain is better than what they are used to do. Continue farmer training on how to correctly apply the trial protocol. Because from 2015, we started giving the farmer the autonomy to conduct his trial himself. So this process gave us the chance of carry out many trials up to 4,000 today. The comparison of yield effect on soil OGA also combined with other treatment like organic manure, gave us that the result that we obtained. The OGA is the responsible of the main yield effects that we obtain. And also the further south in intervention that we find that Sarkin Hausa is less than Safu, Safu is less than Sai. Sarkin Hausa is in the northern part where the rainfall are very low, around 400. Safu is in southern part. We have something close to 600 millimeter a year. And Sai, that is in western part of the Niger, they have up to 700 millimeter. So when we do cross the gradient, so the effect of OGA is better in Sai than Safu and the Sarkin Hausa. So there's one aspect that we build it on it, the farmer research network, but I will not go deep in. I will leave, maybe Mary will come with some information related to it. I will continue. This is farmer research network build that help FEMA to carry out research with farmers, by farmer, for the farmers. So quickly, what we think now to do, well, based on our experience on the utilization collection, so a dissemination out of FUMA zone. because what we gain, we today work with up to 5,000 farmers. We think to move in other zones of Niger, so to show this technology because it's very interesting. We get better and promising results that will help other farmers from other regions to have other option of fertilization. We started this year, started testing it on sorghum. So we will move on other crop like sesame next year, for example. We are thinking about the entrepreneurship. So we can have some small enterprise where in the village where maybe some people will be specialized in collection, packing, storage, and commercialization of Oga. And now we want to maybe go on the time, storage time. Because the time that we collect Oga, we keep it for 1, 2, or 3 months. Maybe the storage time, we are going to see which time is right, is good to store Oga and have maybe the expected effect of Oga on the crop. Also the application facility, because today farmers are applying Oga based on the materials that they have. Maybe if you can think Oga is so good. And what is, we find it, when we apply Oga on millet crops, that is associated with maybe, for example, cowpea. When you apply Oga on it, you find that the insects that are on the cowpea, they leave the field. So we want to conduct research on it. Oga as a pesticide, is it a repellent effect or is it killing insect, which type of insect, and how maybe it will take time on the field when you apply it to get the right information that you need. So we also build on communication. This is some local community radios that help us to carry out all those information out of our zone. So we to touch many farmers, and the video that we produce also we share it with many farmers that are in other villages. This will help us to have access to touch many farmers with this option of fertilization by Oga. This is a quick summary story that I want to share with you of Fuma Gaskia on the collection manipulation of Oga. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Aminu. Great to see that. So let me see if I can. Aminu, could you please unshare your screen? I don't know if I can share while you're.
Share the screen.
Would you unshare so that I can reshare? So yeah, so thank you so much, Aminu. So I think for me that really exciting things there include the fact that you your rebranding work was mentioned in the chat. The fact that you've working now with to 5,000 farmers in many villages in Niger, very impressive, and the fact that it's bottom-up community participatory research. So I wanted to let me see if I'm sharing. Am I sharing the screen or not? No.
Not yet.
Okay, sorry. Share screen. So I'm afraid that I'm apologizing to, can you see it now? Am I sharing?
Yep.
Okay.
You started.
This is just a screenshot from a previous conversation with the Rich Earth group and the panelists here. And I just wanted to thank Hanatu for her work and contribution. And she's on this as a member of this, the summit as well. So, and you were I think maybe too shy to show the data, but I've just been really impressed by here on the third panel here, showing over thousands of farmers the positive effect of yield shown on the y-axis of the pearl millet when it's applied to these small fields of farmers in Niger. So a consistent, very considerable yield bump. All the blue lines mean that farmer with that data point obtained an improvement. Very rare to get a negative or neutral result using Oga on those millet fields. Okay, so next I would like to invite Batamaka Some to present. So he is, I'm going to stop sharing and introduce Batamaka. So As I mentioned, the work that Aminu, and as he mentioned, the work that Aminu presented was supported in part, at least, by the McKnight Foundation's Collaborative Crop Research Program. And Matamaka is an anthropologist who serves as a regional representative for our program in West Africa. He formerly has worked for the Gates Foundation. He's a consultant that does various things. He's a wonderful guy with a lot of expertise on gender issues, for example. We're super appreciative of having him on our leadership team. And in his regional portfolio, he has at least 3 other EcoSan projects in West Africa. So over to you, Batamaka, for a few remarks. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Rebecca. You noticed that from Aminu's presentation, what matters is not just the technology. It is also the strategy to get people or farmers to adopt the technology and to accept the technology. And the gymnastics that Aminu and their team and his team use to rename urine that is in the toilet into Oga, that is the fertilizer, is very strategic. And it is very important when we want to work with grassroots population, especially in our context. Aminu, thank you very much. I would like to echo what Rebecca said. The project that Aminu worked with is called Women Field. It works along with other 17 projects within the West Africa portfolio. And we work in Burkina Faso, Mali, and Niger, of course. And we mainly focus on production system based on sorghum and millets, and partially maize. And these are associated with legumes, and that certainly why Aminu mentioned cowpea at some point, peanuts and bambara nuts. And all this is combined with some minor crops, including fonio, sesame, hibiscus, and also we care about animal production and tree production, including shrubs. Recently, okay, before I talk about what's going on recently, I also want to mention that we focus also specifically on biodiversity, including seeds, systems, diversity, and breeding. And the kind of breeding we do is very participative because farmers and producers are included in it. We have a very special focus on gender as well. We work on nutrient cycling, circular economy, nutrition, and local innovations. So the project in our portfolios work in synergy, and this allowed them to benefit. Mary will certainly talk about the farmer research network that Aminu mentioned. We work with farmers as true actors for the research. And the beautiful graphs that Rebecca shared, the data from those graphs come mostly from farmers. And during the COVID situation, during the mobility restrictions, FRNs, as we call them, proved to be very useful tools to kind of work and collect data with the FRNs. So recently, we also focus on supporting other initiatives, and one of them is based in Burkina Faso, is on recycling waste, human waste, and this was funded at the end of 2019, and some preliminary research, it was an exploratory work. The preliminary research showed that while village, it showed a kind of a paradox. And the paradox is that while villages lack fertilizers to improve their impoverished lands, there is enough, or even if not too much, resources in cities that cannot even be utilized. So what we think is that it looks like a secular organization of the resources put a lot to clean cities while helping the rural areas with the waste if they are well managed and developed. There is another project in Niger called Katigao. Katigao uses animal waste to compost, to produce compost and help with fertilizing lands. And another project that is in Mali and work in Burkina Faso is called Farini. It also uses the kind of composting. And recently, the foundation seemed to see the potential for this circular economy and the management and transformation of human waste into fertilizers, and they funded. They gave a grant to IRD and other organizations, and they will do work and on the valorization of pre and post-consumer waste in cities in West Africa. That will be in Burkina Faso, Niger, and Cote d'Ivoire. By the way, Cote d'Ivoire, it will be the first time that we try something in Cote d'Ivoire. So I'll stop here and pass it over to Rebecca again. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Batamaka. So I really appreciated how you have emphasized by describing the farming system and the projects in your portfolio, the notion that was expressed earlier that the toilet is part of a system. So the West African system is special unto itself, as is every other system. And it's really been exciting to see how EcoSan is fitting into that system and seeing the building excitement that's really come out of first the work that Aminou presented, and then now the larger suite of projects that are picking up on the potential of bringing resources from waste streams into agriculture. So now we're going to actually turn to Kevin Maclean. He's been working with a bunch of like the church and other organizations in East and Southern Africa, and working particularly on stoves through his NGO Sun 24. And he's now beginning an interest in this sort of EcoSan issue. So Kevin, over to you.
Okay, thank you, Rebecca. Again, everyone here attending this summit understands urine much better than I do. I'm new to this, have been looking at it now for 4 or 5 months. But what I do bring to this is I do have some knowledge on training of rural Africans on a mass scale of very simple, low-tech ideas. And I'd like to share with you the primary example of that we have, because I think that this can be expanded and we can use our networks to train on the use of urine and biochar. So to emphasize the low-tech, simple nature of what we need here, I'm going to present my first slide this way. This is looking down at it, this is a 3-stone cook stove. 3-stone cook stoves, basically it's 3 stones, large enough to support a pot above a fire. The firewood goes on the ground underneath them. The cook pot rests on top of the 3 stones. 3-stone cook stoves have been used essentially forever by humans, and they are currently used by hundreds of millions of households in Africa, Asia, Central and South America. And they continue to be the dominant cook stove in Africa. So we found a couple of years ago that, less than that actually, that just by placing some small rocks on the ground in a 3-stone cook stove, you can improve the efficiency of that cook stove by 1/3. That's 1/3 less firewood and 1/3 less smoke. Very simple and free, simple to teach. Got to look up to make sure I'm catching the screen. Simple to teach and very simple to use. The women love it because they can save 1/3 of the time collecting firewood. And in sub-Saharan Africa, UN's found that women spend an average of 2 hours a day collecting firewood. So they're very appreciative of this. So what we have done is we've developed partnerships in Africa with the Catholic and Anglican churches, primarily the Catholic Church, which is, it has an infrastructure that is second to none in these countries. And we've done training now in almost a dozen countries in Africa. And we've done some training in India and Vietnam as well, although we're struggling with our networks there. So please, if anyone's from South or Southeast Asia, feel free to help us out. Our training model is this within the church. So each each country is divided into 20 to 40 dioceses. Each diocese has 20 to 40 parishes. So at the diocese level, we train or call in all of the parish women leaders to the diocese, and we train them on the use of rock beds and train them to be trainers. And it's really quite simple. The parish women leaders then return to their parishes and they call up the village women leaders to be trained on rock beds, and they are trained to be trainers. They return to their villages and they train everyone regardless of faith. This model has worked extremely well. So in these countries, we estimate that 1 to 5 million households are now using rock beds, and that has been at a cost to us of less than 5 cents per household. There really is no reason that this cannot be done with urine also. It's got to be a simple training, and urine only. That's simple. It's simple and easy, and we've done some testing on it. If we can keep the processes simple, storage, of course, if a smallholder farmer is using this on their farm and using their own urine that they collect, and the produce is to be consumed by the family, then there's no need to store the urine in order to kill the pathogens. That makes it easy. And in our testing, I want to learn from our friends in Nigeria, but in our testing in Uganda and Kenya, we found that we can apply the urine to maize crops without any dilution. Of course, that makes it simpler if we can do that, and still get a remarkable increase in the yield. In Uganda, we doubled the yield. So one problem that I see, and I hope that, again, that our friends in Nigeria can help us out with this, one problem that I see is storage of the urine. We're testing different ways to get around that to solve this problem. But I asked my colleague in Uganda to give me some estimates on smallholder farmers. He says that each farm is about 1 acre, has about 20,000 maize plants on it, which when planting, that means around 7,000 holes. So if we're going to apply 1 cup of urine to each hole, that means that they will need to store about 80 jerry cans that are 20 liters each to do that. And that's a huge problem, because these smallholder farmers cannot, they're just not going to be able to buy 80 jerry cans. They cost about $2.50 each. But as we know, urine is 90 to 95% water. We don't need to store the water. We really want to just store the nutrients. So we're testing a method of using biochar to extract the nutrients from the urine, so you don't have to store the water, just the nutrients. This could evolve all kinds of different ways. We have different methods of collecting the biochar. With freestone, one way of doing it is we found that you can pluck out the embers that fall into the ash and quench them, or just let them burn out. You can also grab the sticks at the end of a cooking session, knock them against each other, knock them on the ground, and a lot of char will fall off at the end of the sticks that way. And you can actually get quite a bit of biochar that way. We've also designed a cook stove that we're calling the Agua for agricultural waste. It's a T-lud cook stove, top-lit updraft. It also produces biochar while burning crop waste. And then, of course, there's a trench method that smallholder farmers can be taught to use to also create biochar. So what we're hoping to do is this. We're testing this out and I think it's going to work. We're going to dig a hole, put a charcoal or rice sack. It's made out of polypropylene and it's woven, so it will leak a little bit. Put the char in there. put the urine in there, and just every day add more char and more urine until the bag is full. Hopefully any excess water will have separated from the nutrients and will leak out of the bag. And when the bag is full of char, biochar at that point, pull the bag out, and the biochar can then be stored in that bag and hauled out to the field when planting comes and applied at that time. One question I have to some of you are ashes. I'm trying to find out if ashes should be excluded or included in this. Of course, ashes are very available to these farmers, and it's one of those things that they all have. And I guess finally, I just want to say that this is a little bit complicated and a little bit more difficult to train on than just simply applying urine. I think that we will be able to train on applying urine fairly easily. But I just don't think that most farmers will be able to have enough urine to apply to all of their crops. And I hope I'm wrong, and I hope that our friends in Nigeria can help us out on that. But bottom line is, I think that we have a network that can be used to train on the use of urine and biochar to improve crop yields on a very large scale. And that's my presentation, Rebecca. Thank you.
Well, thank you so much, Kevin. Like Mary, I really loved your low-tech PowerPoint surrogate there, illustrating the power of simplicity and the fact that it works is great. And your description of a large, very large networks and ways that existing institutions such as the church you can collaborate with such institutions to reach large numbers of people with what is really an ethically driven, impulse to share this technology. So I just would comment that in the McKnight program, at least one of the farmer research networks that Mary may or may not mention includes the Diocese of Homa Bay in Kenya. And I consulted with a person who runs that piece of that farmer research network. And she said, yes, the church can help you kind of deal with the taboo issue after you've shown that it works, and please work with schools. So I feel like there's some really nice themes coming out about we haven't talked as much in the summit about the fact that these topics are so unwelcome to many people and so taboo. And I think Aminu's comment about how dealing with the religious authorities was essential to getting acceptance, which was even so gradual. In the Niger context, I really think your work with the church can help change attitudes, as long as you're successful, again, making it not stinky and successful agriculturally. So anyway, thank you very much, Kevin. Now, coming back to the McKnight group here, Mary's going to talk to us about the Farmer Research Network idea a little bit, just to illustrate again the ideas about how big new ideas that require some research base. I mean, Kevin's illustrated some of the issues for which we need to do more participatory research. How do we bring the carbon in? How do we store urine? These are all things that very context, particular researcher is going to help a lot with. So Mary's going to talk to us a little bit about that Farmer Research Network work, which is across the wider program that also includes Eastern Southern Africa. So Mary is a consultant and also an anthropologist, so very similar in her profession, I think, to Matamaka, who's based in Burkina Faso. Mary's based in Canada, another anthropologist who helps other organizations get things done with people. So Mary, over to you.
Thanks, Rebecca. I'm just sharing my my slides here. I've only got a few. Just wanted to, it's a context piece here about the program and sort of what we heard from Aminu, how it's part of a slightly broader initiative. And so Fumagaskia and the project that Aminu was describing is part of a network of what we're calling farmer research networks. And as you can see in these pictures, there are projects in the Andes, in Bolivia, Peru, and Ecuador, also in West Africa, as Aminu mentioned, Niger, Burkina Faso, and Mali, and then in Eastern and Southern Africa and Tanzania, Malawi, Kenya, and Uganda. And so these are just some pictures that give you a sense of, you know, farmers working together to do research together with researchers, with NGOs, sometimes with farmer organizations. The stakeholders are different depending on the context. And just sort of to give you a sense of what are farmer research networks. So they aim to enable large-scale farmer participation in agroecological research and development, in a way that enhances the agency of participants. And so, you know, they would have, they do have the advantages of participatory action research, but also of being able to have large data sets and look at a broad focus on agroecological intensification of smallholder farming systems. And so they do that by supporting networks of farmers to collaborate with scientists and rural organizations. And those rural organizations vary by context depending on what is relevant locally. And they facilitate access to technical, institutional, and financial support. I just wanted to mention that what the Collaborative Crop Research Program did at the outset was to define not a recipe that everybody has to follow, that a farmer research network has to look a certain way or be a certain way, but rather a set of principles that would guide and give coherence as well, and align, I guess, the farmer research networks in a certain sense. And so I just thought I'd pull out a couple of examples of how these principles take shape in actual projects from the Fumagaskia example that Aminou presented. And so the first one is that diverse farmers participate in the whole research process. And I think you could see from what he described that there's a lot of farmer involvement, that there's diverse farmers because the typologies they did show that they have farmers from all kinds of different backgrounds, gender, age groups, locations, etc., and that there's a lot of farmers involved. So he showed also that they started out with 664 farmers. Now they're up to somewhere close to 5,000 farmers that are involved in these research projects. There's also, you'll see some sub principles there, and the 1C says farmers from marginalized groups have meaningful representation in the network. And I think we saw that women, who are often a marginalized group in many, many different contexts, women are the main participants in the OGA project. And it was originally and still today focused on women's fields. And so they're a really big part of that project. And in terms of the research principle, that research is rigorous, democratized, and useful, focused on agroecological knowledge creation that provides practical benefits to farmers based on their social and biophysical context. So that's a kind of a long sentence, but that really speaks to the idea that the research is intended to be useful and to provide practical benefits. And we could see that very clearly in the example from FUMA, that the research is directly useful to farmers. It's having an impact on their crop yields directly. And so there's an immediate benefit. Also, it's one of the sub-principles talks about co-developed research plans. And here again, you know, farmers were involved in developing those research plans. There was a lot of work went into kind of scoping and talking to different stakeholders, and there was, you know, the religious leaders and other people as well as farmers, of course, understanding perceptions, discussing barriers to using urine, to collecting it, and to spreading it in the fields. And then the network principle talks about networks being collaborative and facilitating learning and knowledge sharing. And I just quickly popped in a copy of the network that Aminou showed really quickly, but you can see at the center here, Fumagaskia. And FUMA is connected in many ways to other projects in the region. It's connected to research institutions like ICRISAT, like Moribend, Moriben's another farmer organization, University of Maradi, So there's many research institutions and researchers that FUMA is connected to. There are other farmer organizations that they're connected to. And there's even, for example, processing stakeholders as well. And so there's that network is really broad. It's growing all the time. And it's having an impact beyond the actual project of that Fumigaskia is, well, they do many projects. This is just one of the projects that they're involved in. Anyways, I just wanted to show sort of the broader context of the other projects that have been developed, other farmer research networks elsewhere in the region and in the world, and also these principles and how they guide action without being prescriptive, without saying exactly what things need to look like. And principles are really great for navigating complex dynamics. And so these are, this is really sort of at the heart of the way that farmer research networks are being developed. So I just wanted to mention that. Thank you so much.
Great. Well, thank you very much, Mary. So I'll just wrap up the panel now. Again, stepping one step even further back to look at the even larger context of the McKnight Foundation's Collaborative Crop Research Program. So Mary commented about the farmer research networks that we're working on, but this is a kind of in the background here is our theory of change, showing that we're sort of looking to link global and local activities in order to make the overall shift using from degenerative to regenerative agriculture, putting agroecological knowledge and social and institutional mobilization to work to accomplish that. And these 6 buttons here are sort of the areas of work that we fund. And I guess this area that we're talking about here, soil health, is most closely linked to the circular economy for organic matter. So I'm going to just mention my own, how I got interested in this as a scientist. More personally, I'm working on projects about managing mycotoxins. So these are fungal toxins that are pervasive contaminants of global food systems, but particularly when people are depending a lot on maize and groundnut under climate stress, you have tremendous toxicity of food systems. And so that's true in West Africa, even on other cereals. So I got interested in the idea of instead of genetics or grain sorting like I usually work on, we've got to work on soil health. Where can we get those nutrients? And I feel like that's the question that Aminu was asking. Where can we get that soil carbon, those soil nutrients? So that's where container-based sanitation came to him independently. And I started realizing, not only could we improve soil health and hygiene and food security because of the gut health that comes with clean water and clean health, but we also have the opportunity to monitor mycotoxins in the biomarkers in urine, for example, or the COVID-19 markers in other wastes. So I really feel like there's a tremendous opportunity and pressure right now to make more, climate resilient food systems based on soil health, but also to monitor these toxins and exposures, which might motivate people even more to pursue the issue. So in my own case, I've been thinking about, I really admire the household level work that Aminu's been doing and that other people are talking about, and also the global, ideas about linking urban and rural food systems and nutrient systems. But I'm kind of myself really interested in this sort of idea of peri-urban neighborhoods under stress, and also thinking of my own campus, since we have to, I got the message from Sasha Kramer of Soil saying, like, don't come and tell, Haitians what to do, or, people what to do in other countries and other contexts if you're not doing it yourself. So, get those Cornell students sitting on a composting toilet or a, separating toilet. And so I've shown below is my pathetic initial steps. I'm motivated by appreciating these straw bale gardens that seem really effective in some cases, and seeing in Nairobi, for example, or neighborhood nearby, how these simple vertical farms in polypropylene sack can be productive. And so I've got my first urine farm here on a Cornell farm with my 36 hay bales, trying to turn those into compost. And got my little biochar oven here and my composter. But I'm thinking of, you know, could it be possible to have a very, very ultra small scale, community scale lab in a box that produces biochar and pasteurizes urine for immediate use in this sort of system where you don't have to concentrate the urine or store it because you're going directly into the sac-based gardens. So that's, I guess, a question that I have. Feedback on that idea. Is ultra local utilization a possibility? You know, within moderate density, there's a huge peri-urban space where sanitation is limited. Is that something that we could think about doing? Rely less on storage. You know, to Kevin, I would ask, why do we have to store so much? Can't you just apply it throughout the season? Maize plants need fertilizer on an ongoing basis. Why do it all in one batch? So I also do, you know, to the conversation around our religious authorities, I think we need to maybe invoke also some artistic design authorities to think, I mean, design talent to say, how can we rebrand in the mind the idea of clean food, clean water, and the role that our digestive systems play in that. And not, I hear so much about farm to fork, farm to fridge, but I'm like, no, that's like, you know, even people are thinking about circular economy can't seem to circularize it if they feel the taboo is too oppressive. So how can we use some of this rebranding and revisualization? Anyway, so thank you very much to everyone for listening. We were hoping to leave more time for discussion, but I think we've left a total of 2 minutes. So sorry about that. Any questions that can people speak from the floor, or Kim, can you identify any themes in the discussion thread there that you think we should address?
I think it would be okay to take some questions from the floor, or yeah, well, let's just first start by thanking you all for being here and making this great presentation to us. Yeah, there was some, I want to tell people the reason that we all found each other, one of the reasons was this wonderful video that we found on YouTube from this group, and I forget, somebody's son created that video.
It was my kid, actually.
Your son, yes, Rebecca's son went and created this video, and you guys didn't choose to show it on this event, but is it okay if we put the link to that video in the chat? And
yeah, I put it in there. There are actually a couple of them. One's a little more how-to and one's a little bit longer format, but yeah, please do. That'd be great. I actually put the shorter video in the chat a while back, but it scrolled by years ago.
Yeah, I think it's a really, I'm gonna ask people not to watch it next, but to link to it and do take a look at it sometimes. When we saw it the first time, our whole team got extremely excited. So yeah, thank you for all of this, and we really wish you great success. And I think you know, Kevin, we hope we can continue to find ways to support as you use this Catholic network to move the information out to people. It's a wonderful opportunity. So yes, thank you all.